take it.
Without objection, the gentleman, Mr. Burton, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, the freedoms and the quality of life of Americans is being threatened right here at home, not necessarily just by those outside the country, but here at home. And I want to tell you why tonight. We're talking about a socialized approach to medicine called national health care that's going to cost billions and billions and probably trillions of dollars. And it will take away from people their right to pick their own doctor in many cases. And it will cause the rationing of health care, which will put people, particularly seniors, at the back of the line when it comes to very important things that have to be done to them to keep them alive and healthy. It's going to cost trillions of dollars, and in the budget that we passed earlier this last month, they put $635 billion in there as a down payment, the first tranche on socialized medicine, which will take away a lot of the freedoms that people have in choosing their own doctor and getting qualified health care. The second thing that is being threatened is the control of our financial institutions. We passed a TARP bill that bailed out a lot of Wall Street companies and banks, and because of that, a lot of those financial institutions are now directly or indirectly controlled by the federal government. And I don't think the American people want that. They don't want socialism in this country. They don't want a government-controlled economy or financial institutions. So we have national health care that's going to be controlled by the government. And they don't do a very good job of controlling other things in this country, as many of us know. But national health care and now financial institutions. And then next, we have the automobile industry. The government just acquired 61% of the control of General Motors, which we should be calling, I guess, now Government Motors or Obama Motors, because it's in effect controlled by the federal government, even though the president said that he really didn't want to control the auto industry. In fact, that's what's being done. And finally, we're talking about the energy section of our economy. We have a bill that's come out of committee that's going to be on the floor before too long called Cap and Trade. It's going to cost every single family in America between $3,000 and $4,000 in additional expenditures for electricity, additional taxes on gasoline that's passed on to them, and other forms of energy because of CO2 emissions. Now, we have a terribly difficult economy right now. Can you imagine the average family having to load on their backs an additional $3,000 to $4,000 in expenses for energy every time you turn on a light switch or anything else? But that's a fact. It's going to happen if that bill becomes law. And in addition to that, we're going to lose millions of jobs because China has already said they would not comply with the same environmental standards we're talking about, and neither would India or many other countries in the world that are competitors of ours. And so they won't have to pay for those costs that the American people are going to have to pay for, American industry is going to have to pay for. So those jobs will be going overseas, millions of them, because we're loading on the backs of individuals and American industry additional taxes and expenses that our competitors around the world will not have to pay. So when they make a car, a truck, or a refrigerator, they'll be able to do it with less expense because they don't have to live up to the same environmental standards that we do. You know, this is a very difficult time for America. We're losing jobs. We see people suffering all across this country. But I'm concerned not only about today, but I'm concerned about tomorrow. And we don't want to see this governmental structure that we hold so dear and the freedoms we hold so dear go right out the window. And that's what's happening today right before our very eyes. We see the government taking over the healthcare industry, the financial institutions, the automobile industry, and now they're going to try to take over the energy industry as well. I hope my friends across this country, Mr. Speaker, and my colleagues are paying attention, because this government is turning very rapidly toward a controlled economy, which is called socialism. And that's anathema to this country and should be anathema to every single American. I yield back to balance my time.
Mr. Paul from Texas. Gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes.